My beloved child, I have seen you. I have heard every sigh you thought went unnoticed. I have followed each weary beat of your heart. Each night, you tossed and turned with pain that had no name. I did not merely observe from afar, I was there, in every moment. Like a father who never takes his eyes off his child. I know there are wounds in you that words cannot express. There are injuries no one sees. Yet they bleed anew each day. There are yearnings in your soul not only for healing in the body, but healing in the spirit, a longing to be touched, to be understood. And today, I come to tell you this: I have heard you, and not a single cry from your heart has escaped my notice or gone unmeasured by my mercy. When your soul cried out, even when your lips were silent, I listened. When you sat in stillness but your heart was heavy, I listened. When you whispered in the darkness, Lord, please heal me, I did not just hear you, I drew near. Not near as a thought or a concept, but as close as breath, closer than the words on your tongue, closer than the fear tightening your mind. You don't need elaborate prayers or perfect faith for me to move. I am not persuaded by poetic words, but moved by an honest heart. When you said, I don't know what to do anymore, that is when I began. When you cried, I am too weak to keep going, that is when my power surged forth. When you reached your end, that is where I stepped in. I have never waited for you to be good enough to receive mercy. I have never weighed whether you deserved healing. You cannot earn my love with deeds, nor lose it through your failures. My love is eternal. It is not shaken by your changes. It does not weaken when you are weak. It is not withdrawn when you fall. In the days when you thought all hope was gone, that was the moment I was preparing a miracle. You thought I was silent, but I was clearing the way. You thought I was distant, but I was holding you in the unseen. You thought you had nothing left to offer, but I only needed one honest breath of prayer. Because miracles do not begin in your strength. They begin at the place where you fall and still choose to call upon me. Never forget, I am the healer. I do not only mend broken bodies, I heal the wounds of shattered dreams, of betrayed hopes, of the places in your soul that were once trampled on. I see not only the diagnoses written on paper, but also the invisible scars left by harsh words and abandoned promises, and I am touching each of those places gently, patiently, yet with power. Let your soul keep crying out. Do not be afraid to be honest. I do not shy away from pain. I enter it. I do not reject the one torn by doubt. I draw them nearer. If all you can say is, help me, then say it. If all you can do is weep, then let the tears fall. I understand that language, and I am already moving. Do not let the enemy deceive you into thinking your prayers are pointless. Every time you call on me, heaven steers. Every tear you shed becomes a seed in the garden of healing. And every moment you choose not to let go of, my hand is a step closer to the complete renewal I have already planned. My beloved child, I am at work, not according to your timing, but according to the perfect timing of mine. Not in the way you expect, but in a way that will leave no room for doubt. When I move, no one will be able to deny that it is a work from heaven. Therefore, rest in me. Let your soul find peace in the truth that you have been seen, heard, and loved with a love beyond all measure. Continue to call upon me, for I am the Lord who hears your cry. And healing is coming not from afar, but right now, right here, in my presence. If you need a sign, then these very words are your confirmation. I am speaking. I am drawing near. I am reaching out to you. My dear one, now that your soul has uttered its cry, now that your heart has opened through the whisper of sincere weakness, I will not remain silent. I am the God who is never limited by distance or delay. Once you have called, I will surely answer, not only with comfort, but with the very word that proceeds from my mouth. A word filled with life, power, and the deepest healing. I speak to raise you up. I speak to drive away the darkness that has hovered over your mind. I speak to bring light back to the dreams you thought had died. My words are unlike the words of men. They do not vanish in the wind. They carry seeds of life. When I speak, things come into being. When I speak, clarity overcomes confusion. When I speak, what did not exist comes forth into existence. And today, you are the very subject of that living word. Listen with your whole soul, for what I am saying is not merely for your ears, but for your spirit to come alive. There is nothing within you too complex for me to understand, no brokenness too shattered for me to mend, no night too dark for my light to pierce. When I speak, life is created. When I speak, all things must bow in obedience. And today, I am speaking directly to you. I declare this: you are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are not the one passed over in miracles, but the one I have appointed for such a time as this. Though the wait has been long, though the pain has echoed through time, none of that has changed. My heart for you. You are still my beloved when you doubt, when you are weak, even when you have lost your way. And I am restoring what has been stolen from you. Open your heart to receive my word as dry ground receives fresh rain. I do not speak merely to encourage for a moment. I speak to establish a new reality over your life. My word is not sweet, poetry meant to soothe the emotion. My word is truth unshakable by emotion, rooted in eternal foundations, immovable through the storms of circumstance. And that very word will rebuild within you the courage that pain has drained, the faith that disappointment has eroded. My child, I declare this: you are not bound by sickness. Your name is not tied to medical reports. You are not defined by the exhaustion in your body or the recurring ache in your soul. You do not belong to pain. You belong to me. And it is by the power of my word that your true identity will be reestablished, one who is healed, one who is redeemed, one who is held firmly in the everlasting arms of your heavenly Father. Thus says the Lord, your life shall not wither. You will no longer drag your feet merely to survive. I have come that you may have life, and have it abundantly, not a life that is broken and fragmented, but one that is whole body, mind, and spirit. Prepare your heart, for I am breathing a new wind upon your life. What has been parched will be refreshed. The places that have felt numb and lifeless will rise again. The parts of you once deemed useless shall be repurposed for divine purpose. And when you hear my word, do not hear it with your ears alone. Let it penetrate the deepest places, the corners marked by disappointment, the chambers where doubt lingered, the spaces where prayer once ceased. Let my word enter even the places you believed I could never heal, for it is precisely there that I long to begin a new work. It is in that place I now declare, arise, come forth, live again. I speak to the fear within you, and declare that it no longer holds power. I speak to the weariness pressing down on your soul and command it to lift a place in. I speak to every trembling part of your being and say, be still, be strengthened, stand in my light, and you shall not be shaken. For once my word has been spoken within you, it shall take root and yield a harvest of abundance. I do not speak these words to stir fleeting emotions. I speak them to bring transformation. Every sentence, every phrase is a stone to rebuild the temple that pain once tore down. And once my word is sown, it will produce fruit. None of my words return to me empty. Each one carries divine intention. And that intention today is this, to heal you. So let your spirit respond. Let your lips say, Father, I believe, I receive. And in the very moment you speak those words, you are stepping into the current of power I prepared since the foundation of the world. I am not waiting for you to be worthy. I am waiting for you to believe. And today, my word has been released. Healing has begun. My beloved child, I love you, and I am moving. Wherever you go, wherever you are, remember this. My word has been engraved upon you as an eternal covenant. Once you have heard it, you cannot forget it. Once you have received it, it shall never be taken away. For my word is life, and you are the soil in which that life shall bloom. When my word touches your spirit, when the sound of my voice awakens faith in your heart, that very moment becomes the beginning of a new covenant. Not a contract signed in ink, but an engraving made by love between me and you. This engraving is eternal, unbreakable, and unshakable. Remember, this covenant is not based on your perfection, but on my unwavering faithfulness. It is not a negotiation of exchange, but a promise from father to childa, promise of healing, restoration, and unceasing presence. Do not forget that you enter into this covenant not as a beggar pleading for favor, but as a beloved child stepping into your inheritance. I do not give to you out of surplus, but from the very essence of who I am, man essence full of love, faithfulness, and power. This covenant is where I place my divine protection around you. It is my declaration that though the earth trembles, the skies shift, and human hearts change, my love for you will never vanish. From the moment you responded to my word, from the instant your heart whispered, yes, Father, I believe, the door to covenant was opened. A heavenly stream began to flow within you, a stream of healing, renewal, and divine sustenance. Not a fleeting miracle, but a journey upheld by eternal power. You need not fear that I will withdraw. I do not regret giving grace. What I have begun, I will also complete. My child, my covenant was not established in a land of ease. It was written in the wilderness where you once wept in anguish. It was engraved in the desolate places where you once stood alone. It was sealed in the room where you once knelt with a broken heart. Those places became sacred altars where the covenant was birthed. And when you look back, you will see this truth. It was in the moments you felt the weakest that you were most deeply connected to me. This covenant is the foundation for every step you take. Do not let your emotions blur what I have promised. Do not let circumstances cast a shadow over what I have established. Return to my word whenever your heart begins to waver. Remind your soul that I am the one who promised, and I never break my promise. If you forget, Open your mouth and declare, "This is the covenant between me and my God." A covenant established by an unshakable love. Insert E. You are not alone in keeping this covenant. I did not set conditions and then step back to watch. I am the one who walks with you, who guards this covenant alongside you. When you are weak, I give you strength. When you forget, I remind you. When you are discouraged, I hold you close. Everything within this covenant is not upheld by human effort alone, but by divine faithfulness. This is what makes the covenant unbreakable. And within the framework of this covenant, I declare you will see healing become evident, not only in your body, but in the dark places you've tried to avoid. I will go into every hidden corner, every buried memory, every part of your soul that has been wounded, and I will renew it. I do not do this reluctantly, but with joy, for it is part of the promise I have made to you. From this moment on, view your life through the lens of covenant. Every morning you awaken is proof that I am still making all things new. Every heartbeat is a reminder that I am still present. Every breath is a mark that the covenant still stands. And remember, even when you don't feel it, even when you doubt, that covenant has never left you. Write this covenant upon your heart. Let it not only be heard, but lived. When your heart is weary, speak again the promises I have made. When you are disappointed, remind your spirit of what I have spoken. Know this, the covenant does not only keep you through the times of crisis, it also lifts you up in seasons of abundance. It is a lamp to your feet and an unshakable foundation. I am the Lord Jehovah, the one who does not change. I have spoken, and my word does not return void. My covenant is a living word, a seal between father and child, so do not be afraid. Beloved one, stand firm, hold tightly to my word. Live as one who knows they have been chosen, deeply loved, and securely held within heaven's everlasting covenant. Now, healing is no longer just something you hope for, is something already at work. Step into it. With gratitude, hold on to it. With faithfulness, live in it. As one who abides in an unbreakable covenant of love. And I will say it again so you remember. The moment you opened your heart to receive my covenant, a divine process began within you. It was not loud or dramatic, but deep and steady, like the rising of the morning sun. I am not in a hurry, nor do I abandon what I start. I work meticulously through every layer of your soul where old wounds were once buried, where memories once made you shrink back, and where forgotten dreams once lay dormant. I awaken them all again so you may know this one truth. Transformation does not begin on the outside, but in the deepest places within you. Your heart is the place I have chosen to lay a new foundation, not one built on fear, but on faith, not formed from wounds, but from healing, not rooted in fleeting feelings, but in eternal truth. When your heart begins to soften in my presence, that is not a sign of weakness, but the first step toward true strength. A heart that melts before me is the most suitable vessel for me to fill, and I never pour out myself halfway. Always remember this. I see what others cannot see. I hear the silent cries that even you do not realize you're making. Your heart, though marked by the wear and tear of life, is still immensely precious in my eyes. That is exactly where I desire to plant new seeds of trust, of peace, and of joy untouched by circumstances. And once these seeds of life take root, you will find that your heart is no longer a dry wasteland, but a vibrant garden nurtured by the loving hand of the Creator. The transformation I am bringing is not merely about erasing the past, but about redeeming it, reshaping it, and using even the pain you once endured as a glorious testimony to my power. Every scar on your heart will not be removed, but transformed into a symbol of victory. The things that once made you weep, I will use them to cause you to sing. The very moments that made you retreat, I will use them to propel you forward. Nothing in you is wasted when placed in my hands. My beloved, when you surrender to me fully, your heart will no longer shut itself off from what is good. Doubt will be replaced with faith. Hardness will be softened by mercy. Bitterness will be exchanged for grace. I do not change you by force, but by a love that cannot be shaken, and that love is melting every wall within you, dismantling every invisible chain that has imprisoned your emotions for years. Let me touch the places you've kept hidden. Let me cleanse the corners you've been afraid to face. Let me burn away the thick dust that has settled on your faith. Do not fear exposure, for I do not look at you with judgmental eyes, but with the eyes of a father who has always known everything and still chooses to love. My love does not stop at the best parts of you. It covers even the parts you are ashamed of, the most isolated corners, and the deepest places that long for healing. When your heart is opened wide, not only will you be healed, but you will become a conduit of healing for others. You will find yourself loving more freely, forgiving more quickly, and showing compassion more deeply. Not because you're trying harder, but because I, the one who is love in its fullness, am living actively within you. Your heart will no longer be driven by lack, but guided by the abundance of heaven. Dear one, in this world, you are taught to strive in order to survive. But in my kingdom, the humble will be lifted up, the surrendered will be empowered, and the open-hearted will receive the fullness of life. Even now, I am working in your heart without pause, without weariness, because I love you, and because your heart is the dwelling place I have chosen for myself. My child, I rejoice knowing that once your heart is transformed, it will become the birthplace of wonders not just for you, but for the world around you as well. So, do not fear change. Do not be afraid of the feeling of being exposed, nor of the tears that fall when I touch the deepest places within you. These tears are not signs of collapse, but the beginning of a season of growth. I am transforming you from the inside out. And soon, everything on the outside will begin to change as well. And if you want to know how deeply my presence has taken root in your heart, pay attention to the quiet yet undeniable shifts in your smallest reactions. You will notice that you are no longer quick to anger, no longer rushing to conclusions, no longer letting your emotion dictate every decision. The things that used to confuse you will now feel lighter, not because your circumstances have changed, but because your heart has been renewed from within, just like a garden that is tilled, fertilized, watered, and carefully tended day by day. Your heart also needs to be lovingly cultivated and cleansed from the roots of bitterness, wounds, and unbelief. Every time you choose to forgive rather than hold a grudge, you are partnering with me to soften the soil of your soul. Every time you choose to pray instead of complain, you are watering the seeds of life I have planted. And every time you say, Lord, please keep working in my heart, you are flinging wide the doors of heaven and allowing me to perform miracles in the midst of a broken world. My beloved child, when a seed is buried deep in the soil, no one sees the moment it splits open, the moment it sends forth a sprout pushing through hardened earth. But I see it. More than that, I hear the very first breath of life stirring within that seed. In the same way, when I am at work within you, not everyone will understand. Not everyone will perceive the change quietly unfolding inside. But I know, and if you walk faithfully with me, you will soon realize you are no longer the same. Spiritual transformation doesn't come with thunderclaps or blinding light. It arrives through the gentle shifts in your attitudes, in your choices, in your daily thoughts. One day, you will find yourself responding with peace instead of impulse. One evening, you will find yourself on your knees in prayer rather than chasing after temporary distractions. One morning, you will awaken with a hunger for my word, as if it were your daily bread. These are not coincidences. They are unmistakable signs that I am changing you from the inside out. This process of transformation will not be easy. It will require you to confront parts of yourself that you once hid away. Old wounds will resurface in your memory. Familiar voices of shame and defeat will try to echo again, attempting to lure you back into the darkness you once knew. But do not be afraid. My child, do not retreat. In those very moments, I am cleansing you. I am leading you through a profound recreation, not to harm you, but to set you free from chains that have held you far too long. Listen, child, to experience true freedom, you must shed the old shell, the shell of pride, of fear, of shame, of control. You must dare to look at yourself under my light, not for condemnation, but for healing. You will never taste true freedom while still clinging to the very things that imprison you. And you will never step into the fullness of life unless you are willing to say, Father, I am ready to let go. Transformation always demands a kind of death, the death of the old self, so that the new self may be born. Just as the caterpillar must abandon the safety of its cocoon to become a butterfly, you too must release what once made you feel secure, but now limits your destiny. The process will not be comfortable, but it is the only way into the new life that awaits you. And I, with my unfailing love and sovereign power, I am with you through every sacred step of this metamorphosis. My dear child, I know there will be days when you feel weary, when you'll want to stop. There will be nights when you cry, unsure of how much farther you can go. But I say to you, take one more step, for transformation does not come in a flash, but through daily perseverance. Every small choice to remain in the light is a victory. Every time you say no to temptation, you are stepping closer to freedom. And every heartfelt prayer is an invitation for me to step deeper into your life. You don't need to be perfect for me to continue working in you. On the contrary, it is precisely when you acknowledge your need for me that I can move in the most powerful way. I do not build a new creation upon a foundation of pretense. I begin with truth, with your real, unmasked, self-complete with cracks, limitations, and unfinished pain. And from that place, I will create something so beautiful that no one will be able to deny it. The transformation within you is not only for your freedom, but it becomes a testimony for others. Your life will be a living letter, written not with ink, but with the Spirit, so that those who have lost hope may look at you and believe that change is real. They will see in your eyes a peace the world cannot give. Hear in your voice the echo of unshakable truth, and sense in your way of life a power that defies all logic. And they will know that I, the one who transformed you, can also transform them. So let me continue to peel away what does not belong to you. Be brave enough to go deeper on this journey. Stand firm when the winds rise, for I am the one who anchors your soul. Close your eyes, open your heart, and say, Father, I surrender. And you will see, layer by layer, the old self falling away, while a new being free, radiant, and fashioned in righteousness and truth emerges into this world as living proof that I am alive and at work. My beloved, as your soul begins to shed its old skin, as your heart softens before me and the layers of falsehood are peeled away one by one, it is then that your spiritual eyes begin to feel my touch. These are not merely physical eyes that see the outer world, but an inward gazia, a new vision crafted to perceive what others cannot, to discern what surpasses emotion and circumstance. You once viewed life through the lens of brokenness. Even the smallest interactions were prone to misunderstanding. A passing glance could convince you that you were being looked down on. A simple word might feel like a criticism. You lived like someone constantly armored, guarding against new wounds while still bleeding from the old. But now, I am changing that lens. Every experience was once stained by fear and suspicion. But now, I am replacing that filter. I am removing the veil that distorted your perception of yourself, of others, and of me. I am giving you a new clarity, a sharper, spirit-led discernment. No longer will you judge by the flesh, but by the wisdom that comes from above. My child, when your spiritual eyes are opened, you will begin to perceive what I am doing. Even in the most ordinary things, a small word from someone will carry a divine signal. A simple conversation will become a confirmation from heaven. A sudden silence will be recognized as the moment I speak in the deepest way. What you once dismissed will now become sacred messages sent directly to your soul. With those eyes, you will begin to see yourself differently. You will no longer define yourself by your failures, limitations, or by comparing yourself to others. You will see the true nature I placed within you, crafted in my image, sealed with unchanging love. When you begin to see yourself through my eyes, you will start to live with a courage and compassion you never knew you had. Not only that, you will also begin to see others through my gaze. Those whom you once avoided because they seemed too complicated, you will now discern the wounds hidden beneath their harsh words. Those who once caused you pain, you will see them through the eyes of grace. I will give you the ability to distinguish between what is true and what is false, between my voice and the voice of the enemy, between divine guidance and misdirection. This is the mark of someone being led by the light of heaven. Spiritual eyes will also help you avoid subtle traps. The enemy is cunning in disguising deception with layers of sweetness. It can show up in advice that sounds wise but lacks life, in relationships that appear positive but slowly erode your faith. Yet the light in your spiritual eyes will expose that darkness. You will no longer fall into the snares of flattering words, misleading opportunities, or connections that do not come from me. You will walk in discernment and spiritual alertness, something only those whose eyes have been opened by heaven can truly live out. The enemy is indeed cunning in cloaking lies in sugary disguises. But the light in your spiritual sight will pierce through that darkness. You will no longer be ensnared by charm, be counterfeit blessings, or by ties that are not of me. My child, these eyes do not open on their own. They are open through intimacy with me. Every time you draw near to mine worship, in stillness, in honest prayer, is a moment when another layer of dust is wiped from your eyes. Revelation does not come by trying harder to think, it comes by lingering longer in my light. Beloved, when your eyes are opened, your whole soul will be illuminated. You will begin to perceive what I am preparing in advance. You will no longer live by reaction, but by divine direction. You will recognize signs, sense warnings, and discern the nearness of my promises. You will no longer stumble like one groping in the dark, but walk like one moving freely through open fields in broad daylight, clear, free, and guided step by step. Never forget, I did not create you to walk in darkness. I created you to carry the light. And this light is not just to illuminate your own path, but to illuminate the way for others as well. Your eyes are the lamp of your entire body. And when your eyes are clear, your whole being will be full of light. So let me complete this work within you. Let me place my hand upon your spiritual eyes and declare, be opened. And from that moment on, the world as you know it will never look the same. You will live with awareness, walk in wisdom, and speak words that are birthed from the deepest places of revelation. For I, the Lord your God, have given you eyes to see not as the world sees, but as a child of the light. When you step out of the old land, a place marked by weariness, doubt, and limitation, that is when I begin to lift off of you the burdens that were never meant to be yours. There are things you've carried for so long that you've begun to believe they are a part of you. But in truth, they are weights your soul learned to shoulder in silence. Today, I have come to remove them not by force, but by the gentleness of love. Perhaps you've grown used to carrying guilt, allowing the past to haunt you like relentless shadows. You may have become familiar with holding on to judgment, with voices of criticism that echo from both outside and within. Perhaps, over time, you have learned to live with anxiety, treating it like a companion in your everyday life. But today, I am here to tell you, I did not create you to live that way. You were not designed to be worn down by what drains you, but born to live in true freedom. My beloved, draw near to me. Lay down your weary shoulders. Let me untangle every burden. One by one, I know how hard you've tried to be strong. You've told yourself you had to endure, to be better, to prove something to the world, even to me. But child, I have never loved you because you performed well. I love you because you are mine. That love is not measured by outcomes. It is filled to the brim by my presence within you. And because I love you, I do not want you to keep living with a heart weighed down. I do not want you to drag your life forward as if chained by invisible bonds. Remember this, my promises do not come with pressure, but with grace. The promised land is not opened by personal might, but by obedience and surrender. Burdens are lifted when you believe that I am good enough, strong enough, and loving enough to take care of everything on your behalf. When you lay them down, nothing is lost in me. Space is made for me to pour in something new. You may fear that letting go will make you weak. But no, I say to you, it is in the letting go that you will discover true strength. Just as a boat only begins to glide once its anchor is lifted, So too will your life begin to move at a new pace, once it is no longer tied down by the weight of the past. I am preparing you to enter a new land, a place where old burdens have no place. So today, take a deep breath. Speak to me of all the things that weigh heavy on your heart. Name each one you no longer have strength to carry. And then, let me take them. Let me lift you up. Let me replace those burdens with peace, a peace that does not depend on circumstance, that does not waver in storms, but stands firm upon the foundation of eternal love. You will see, once the burdens are lifted, you will not only feel lighter, you will soar. Like a bird once weighed down by mud, when it is washed clean, it does not simply fly again, but soars higher than ever before. Freedom is not merely the absence of chains, but the rebirth of strength and purpose. You will walk as though you had never fallen. You will speak as though hesitation never existed. You will love as though you had never been broken. You will not simply live, you will live abundantly. Each day will feel like a new beginning, with relief flowing from the depths of your soul. What once brought you to your knees will become the very ground on which you rise. The burdens of old will become testimonies of my faithfulness, and every step on this new journey will resound with the song of freedom, the song I myself placed within your heart. For this is the beginning of a new journey, where every step is no longer a weary drag but a joyful leap. After I have lifted from you the burdens that once weighed heavily upon your soul, the next thing I desire to do is to establish you in steadfastness, not a steadiness that comes from striving in your own strength to remain standing, but a firmness that flows from standing upon my unshakable foundation. In the new land you are about to enter, challenges will still arise, and the winds may still blow, but you will no longer be swept away as before. For I am strengthening your tendons and fortifying your spiritual legs, so that you may walk with unwavering confidence. You once lived in a state of uncertainty, as though even the smallest storm could cause you to collapse. You were easily moved by others' words, by unexplained silences, by glances whose meanings you could not discern. You questioned my guidance when what you hoped for did not come in time. But now, I am transforming your foundation. No longer shall your emotions be the ground upon which you stand, but rather, unwavering trust in my word. No longer shall circumstances dictate your faith, but my eternal faithfulness will be your anchor. My beloved, I am placing upon your feet the shoes of steadfastness. These shoes have been crafted in the furnace of affliction, forged through endurance, and sewn with the crimson thread of my promises. Each step will no longer be a hesitant motion in the dark, but a confident stride in my light, and you will come to learn that steadfastness is not the absence of fear, but the courage to walk even when fear remains. It is walking not because you know every path ahead, but because you trust the one who holds your hand. When your spiritual feet are made firm, temptation will no longer push you backward. The things that once made you stumble will lose their grip. The whispers of the enemy will no longer scatter your focus. You will stand firm like a tree planted by streams of water, whose roots grow deep and unshaken by season or storm. Though others may doubt you, though circumstances may shift, you will remain grounded, not because you are stronger than others, but because you are standing in my strength. O my child, the land I have reserved for you is not a place of fleeting comfort, but a sacred territory to be possessed through endurance. You will face uncharted places, encounter unfamiliar people, and undertake tasks you once believed were beyond your ability. And for that reason, I grant you spiritual feet that do not grow weary. Your journey will not be hindered by spiritual exhaustion. I will protect your heels from harm, that you may run and not grow tired, walk and not grow faint. You will see, each day you stand upon, my word is a day your steps are made stronger. Each time you speak words of faith instead of complaint, you reinforce your walk. Each time you choose forgiveness over bitterness, you shorten the distance to your promised land. And every time you declare, Lord, I still believe, I secure yet another pillar of strength beneath your feet. My child, you will not only stand firm for your own sake, but you will become a place of refuge for others. Your feet will become a pillar for your family, for the community around you. Those who are wavering will find support in the steadfastness of your faith. Lost souls will find direction in the way you walk, unshaken. You will no longer be the one who needs to lean on others to move forward, but the one I send to lift others up. Therefore, do not shrink back from the trials that demand your perseverance. Do not fear the days that seem repetitive and fruitless. Do not allow fleeting disappointments to steal your resolve. I am building within you a foundation that cannot be moved, so that when everything around you is shaken, you will still stand. My child, keep walking. Walk as one who knows they are being upheld by my almighty hand. Walk not merely to reach a destination, but to testify to the steadfastness that only I can give. For your feet have been made firm by Meno, so you would stop, but so you would continue walking into everything I have already prepared for you. My beloved, now that your feet have been made secure, the next thing I desire to do in you is to open your hands, not only so you may stand firm, but so you may also be ready to receive, to give, and to act according to my leading. Your hands were once the place that held your worries, once clenched tightly in fear, once closed because of wounds. But today, I have come to open them not just in the physical sense, but in every deep layer of your spiritual life. When a pair of hands is opened, it becomes a symbol of readiness, ready to receive new things I am giving, ready to release what no longer belongs to this current season, ready to take hold of what once intimidated you. Open hands are the sign of a soul that has learned to let go and to trust that what I give is always greater than what you dare to hope for. And what I take away is only to make room for something far better. My child, your hands are not only for receiving. I am calling you to use those very hands to touch the lives of others, not through grand gestures according to worldly standards, but through simple acts that carry divine power, a timely handshake, a quiet care, an unconditional kindness. Each of these, when done in my name, becomes a vessel of heaven's love poured out on this earth. I know you once thought you had nothing to offer. You compared your bare hands to others more talented, more resourced, more esteemed. But I say to you, it is from empty hands that I work miracles. I use the hands of a little boy to feed 5,000. I use the hands of a poor widow to teach a generation about wholehearted giving. And now, I desire to use your hands, though you may see them as small, to fulfill great things in my eternal plan. Your hands, when opened by faith, become the place where heaven flows. Into your hands I will place tasks to be completed, people to be reached, burdens to be carried, not as a weight, but as an honor, not because I need you, but because I choose you. And this choosing comes from love, not obligation. O child, your hands were not made just to cling to what is yours, but to distribute, release healing, comfort, encouragement, and deliverance. And you will see, as you begin to reach out to others, that you too will be healed in the process. For true love always flows outward, never remains closed in. And when you move in, my love, I will multiply what you have, so that from two empty hands, you will become a channel through which countless blessings are poured out. Perhaps you fear that if you open your hands, you will lose the little you still have. But I am the one who gives bread to the hungry and seed to the sower. No one who opens their hands for me is left in lack. On the contrary, it is those who hold back who live in dryness. Just try and open your hands. Give, and believe that I will fill them again in wondrous ways, far beyond what your understanding can grasp. Know this, my child, I am not calling you to take hold of the whole world. I am simply calling you to reach out your hand to one person, and then to another. And through that, an entire community will be transformed by a single hand that dares to open in faith. You don't need to accomplish something grand. You only need to be faithful in the small thing I've placed in your hands today. For from that, I will bring forth things no one could ever imagine. Stretch out your hands, my beloved. Offer them as a sign that you trust me, that you do not live to keep, but to give. Let those hands become my instruments so that I may wipe away someone's tears through you, lift the weary through your encouragement, and provide spiritual nourishment through your prayers. Your hands, though they may tremble, though they may bear scars, are precious in mine, and they are strong enough to change a generation if you let me take hold of them. When your hands are open to both give and receive, and your heart has learned to trust on a deeper level, I know the time has come for you to enter a new season of action, not rushed action born of fear of missing out, but purposeful action ignited by my presence. This is the moment when you no longer ask, "Can I do this?" but instead respond, "I am ready." Because that readiness is not born from your ability, but from the power and presence of me working within you. Oh, my child, the journey of faith does not end in moments of spiritual ecstasy or sweet revelations. It continues with real steps taken in the midst of ordinary life, where you are called to bring truth into the noise, to live love in a world steeped in judgment, and to stand firm amid the waves of doubt and deception. And that begins when you say to me, "I am ready." When you say those words, you do not need to have all the answers, nor do you need to know the entire plan. You only need a steadfast trust that I, the one who called you, am also the one who will faithfully equip you. Readiness is the mark of surrender. It is the evidence of a heart that no longer resists, no longer flees, but has chosen to pause in order to be sent. I have prepared doors that will open, divine encounters that will come, and shifts that will begin, but only when you step out. I do not call you to be perfect before you go. I call you to go. And in going, I will perfect you. Know that miracles often begin with a small yes, or a simple nod of obedience. When you say, "I am ready," that is when heaven touches earth, and I begin to write the next chapter through your very life. My child, readiness is not haste. It is the willingness to slow down if needed, to stop if I say so, and to endure when the road stretches long. It is the posture of one who knows who is leading. It is the stance of a humble servant willing to trust, willing to move forward, willing to offer their hands for the purpose I have ordained. You do not walk alone. Every step you take is covered by wisdom from heaven. Every word you speak will be anointed by the Holy Spirit. Every action you perform in my name will leave a mark that cannot be erased. For when one of my children says, "I am ready," all of heaven listens, and all of hell trembles because it knows a warrior has just arisen. So today, my beloved, I ask you not as a king demanding service, but as a father longing to partner with you. Are you ready? Ready to love even when it hurts? Ready to forgive even when unacknowledged? Ready to serve when no one sees? Ready to stand firm when all others retreat? If your answer is yes, then know that I will never leave you alone. I will go before you, walk beside you, and follow behind you. And I will catch you when you fall, strengthen you when you are weary, and comfort you when you doubt. My dear child, you were not prepared to remain still. You were prepared to move. You were not created merely to receive, but to participate, not to act out of pressure, but out of love, not to perform for recognition, but so that my glory may be revealed through you. Beloved, the time has come not only for readiness, but for action, not tomorrow, not at a more convenient time, but today. I see within your heart the things still hesitating, still weighing, still waiting for just one more sign. But I declare to you, the time has come. The season of delay is over. If you continue to hesitate, you will miss the very doors I am opening for you right now. Let me remind you that delay does not always stem from laziness. It often flows from fear. I know you're afraid of being wrong, afraid of failure, afraid of inadequacy, afraid of judgment, afraid of walking alone. But child, there is a fear greater than all of these, the fear of living a life that never steps into what I have destined for you, a life spent in endless preparation, never planting the seeds you've been given. Do not let fear destroy what I have ignited. Do not let reasoning drown out the gentle voice of my spirit. You do not need to see the entire forest to plant the first seed. You do not need all the answers to begin walking in faith. All I ask is your obedience. Leave the rest to me. Do not wait until you feel good enough to begin, because it is in your weakness that my power is made perfect. So many great things on this earth are lost not because people lack vision, but because they continually postpone their beginning, that which begins small, when nurtured with obedience, will multiply abundantly. But if you never begin, nothing will ever be birthed. I am not asking you to do something grand today. I am asking you to take one step. Sow the first seed. Make the first call. Pray the first prayer. Write the first sentence. Speak the first word of forgiveness. Every great work begins with one small, obedient step. My child, do not think I reproach you for the delay. On the contrary, I am gently calling you to step out of the comfort zone. I do not want you to live in regret over what you haven't done, but to rejoice because you dared to begin. These very moments when you choose action over delay are where miracles begin to move. So today, I do not ask whether you know enough. I ask, do you trust me enough to take the step? Do you dare let me take your hand and lead you across the waters? Do you dare say, I will not wait any longer? If your answer is yes, Then you will see heaven open not because you are worthy, but because I am faithful. Do not wait for a better season, because you are already in the right one. This moment is no accident. What you are feeling in your spirit, the stirring, the quiet shift, the reawakening of dreams, these are the signals I have sent to awaken you. These are not random dreams. They are a sacred calling. Act even if your hands are trembling. Obey, even if your heart is racing. Offer the first step, and I will establish the path. Let your obedience unlock the wonder waiting to be released. Delay, no longer, for the things you're waiting for will not begin until you begin. Know this: you were created to take action, not to wait indefinitely. You were called to bring change, not to live in regret. Today, let your heart declare, Father, I will delay no more. Even though I do not yet see everything clearly, even though I still feel anxious, I will walk by faith, and I, your faithful God, will meet you in every step, renewing your strength, pouring out new grace, and opening new paths before you. My beloved child, once you are ready and delay no longer, the next truth I want you to grasp is this: every act you carry out, no matter how small, when placed in my hands, carry divine weight. Obedience is not only revealed through grand decisions, but also through the quiet steps, the silent choices, and the unseen sacrifices. It is in obedience that miracles are born. Dear one, the world seeks results, but I seek obedience. I do not measure you by how successful you appear, but by how deeply you obey. When you offer me your actions with a sincere heart, though no one may praise you, though no one may even notice, I see. And when I see, I will cause those acts to bear fruit in my time and in my way. Obedience may not make you stand out, but it will make you stand firm. It is like laying one stone after another as a foundation unnoticed by many, yet essential to keeping the entire structure from falling. Each time you choose forgiveness over offense, humility over retaliation, faithfulness when no one is watching, you are laying down solid stones for your life in me. My child, do not think obedience is an easy path. Sometimes it requires you to surrender what you enjoy, to accept what you do not understand, and to walk through lands you have never stepped into before. But it is precisely through those surrenders that I reveal something new. It is in that yielding that I prepare you for greater doors ahead. There are actions I will call you to take that you may not understand right away. There are words I will speak that may not be fulfilled immediately. But do not let the delay in results make you doubt the worth of obedience. Do what I say, and trust me to bring the outcome. I never asked you to create the results, only to obey. My child, obedience is never wasted. It is the evidence of a heart that loves me more than its own will. It is the declaration that says, Lord, your will is better than mine. Your ways are higher than my ways. And when you choose that path, you begin to look more like Mitha, one who obeyed even unto death. Obedient action may not always bring immediate comfort, but it will always lead to deep peace. True peace does not come from favorable conditions, but from knowing you are in the right place, doing the right thing, at the right time I have appointed. Do not fear if no one understands your journey. Do not wait for the world's approval to walk in my ways. True obedience does not require an audience, it only requires a simple heart, an honest soul, and absolute trust in me. My beloved child, when you have chosen obedience, when you have taken that step and no longer delayed, I invite you into a deeper dimension of your spiritual journey. This is the realm of infilling, not by your own strength, nor by the determination of your flesh, but by the power that comes from above. My child, you need to be filled with my Holy Spirit, He who is alive, who moves, and who fulfills everything I have promised in your life. Without this infilling, your journey will soon run dry, for you cannot withstand the winds of life by your own strength. You cannot sustain the flame by natural effort, but when my Spirit is poured out upon you, you will be renewed day by day, anointed, upheld, and supernaturally graced to overcome even what you never thought you could endure. This infilling, my child, is not reserved for a select few, is the inheritance of every one of my children, for it is not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit that my work is accomplished. You do not need to be worthy in order to be filled. You only need to hunger. You only need to invite me in. You only need to say, Father, I need you. I thirst for you, and I will not delay. For I delight in giving the Holy Spirit to those who ask. When my Spirit dwells in you fully, you will feel new life coursing through your soul. The things that once brought you to your knees will no longer have power. The places that were once dark will be lit with light. You will speak words that give life, act with a love that flows from me, and walk with a wisdom not born of man. Do not limit this infilling to fleeting emotion. My child, this is not a mountaintop experience meant to fade into the dryness of everyday life. This is a continual flow, moment by moment, hour by hour, day by day. The infilling is like a river that never ceases, soaking your roots, reviving what has withered, and pushing back the death that tries to creep into your soul. I want you to live in fullness, not just to be satisfied yourself, but to become a stream that overflows into the lives of others. When you are filled with my Spirit, you will become an encourager to the discouraged, a healer among the broken, and a light bearer in dark places. You will become an instrument in my hands not because you are strong, but because you allowed me to fill you with all that I am. You do not need to strive to become more spiritual. What you need is surrender. Do not resist my flow. Let me guide your words, your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions. Be willing to let me cleanse the old so that you may contain the new. And when that happens, your whole being will reflect the light of heaven. I do not fill you so that you remain still. I fill you so that I may send you. The infilling is the final preparation before you are commissioned. I am equipping you, renewing your gifts, stirring your courage, rekindling the flame where it once burned low. For I know the time to act is near, and I never send anyone whom I have not first filled. So, my beloved, open your heart, invite me in, not just into part of you, but into all of you. Let my Spirit pour into the deepest places, the ones you've hidden, the ones that hurt, the ones you tried to forget. Let me resurrect the dead places. Let me renew your mind. Let my fullness become your daily breath. You do not need to search far and wide for my Spirit, for He is near, waiting for you to open. You do not need to begust invite. And when you thirst, I will come. When you open, I will pour in. When you surrender, I will move, and in this way, you will no longer walk by your own strength, but by the power of the one who lives in you, works through you, and is glorified within you. When I fill you with my Spirit, it is not merely for you to experience new life, but so that you may be sent forth to step out of your comfort zone, away from the familiar, and into the land I have already prepared. The infilling is not the conclusion in awe and wonder, but the beginning of a courageous journey. The calling is always intertwined with the filling, and now, I am calling you, step out. Step out of the old, not just out of past mistakes, but out of old mindsets, outdated limitations, and ways of living that no longer align with the new glory I am clothing you in. There are things you once leaned on as your support, but now I want you to lean on me alone. There were doors you once believed were the only way, but I am opening paths no eye has seen. To step out does not mean abandoning everything from your past, but letting go of the old spirit that keeps you from receiving the new. It means saying goodbye to fear, to delay, to the habit of choosing what is easy over what is right. It means being willing to place your feet upon the waters, even when you cannot yet see where the next solid ground will emerge. But remember this, wherever you step in faith, there I will lay a firm foundation. My child, to step out also means to touch the lives of those I have already prepared for you. I am not sending you out for fame, nor for religious duty, but for the souls. I love those sitting in darkness, waiting for the light within you to shine. When you step out, you become my hand reaching toward them, my voice in the places where I have not yet been heard. Do not believe that stepping out is reserved for the strong, for I chose you in the very moments you felt weakest. Do not wait until you feel ready, for it is in your stepping that you become equipped. Do not fear if no one stands beside you, for I am the one who sends you, and I will also be the one who walks with you through every mile. Beloved, step out not in haste, but in trust, not by fleshly calculation, but by the gentle whisper within. You may not see the full picture, but you will see the next step, and that is enough. For my light is a lamp to your feet, not a spotlight revealing the entire road ahead. Walk step by step with me, and you will never lose your way. Your stepping out will make an impact not through noise, but through steadfastness, not through strategies, but through presence. I did not call you to be a hero, but to be the one who carries me into every place you go. You are the vessel through which I pour out my love, my peace, my restoration, and my truth to the driest places. Remember, you are not sent to prove anything, but to reveal my love, not to perform a task for me, but to walk alongside me. Stepping out is not the end of preparation, it is the continuation of our covenant. As you go forth, you are living the full meaning of what it is to be my anointed child. So do not hesitate. Do not turn back. Do not wait for perfection. Say to me, Father, I will step out. I will go where you send. Speak what you say, and do what you place in my heart. And I, your Father, your companion, your Redeemer, will go with you, clear the path before you, and do what no one expected through your very life. Now that you have been filled and have stepped out in response to the divine calling, the final thing I want you to recognize and note as a reward, But as a natural outcome is this: my glory will be revealed through your very life, not a manufactured light that man tries to kindle, but a true and profound light, flowing from my living presence within you. You once prayed to see my glory. You longed for my presence to be so thick and weighty that everything in you would bow. But I want you to understand this: the greatest revelation of my glory is not found in crowds, nor in dazzling miracles, but in a life that walks daily in obedience, love, and alignment with my will. My glory is not merely something to be admired, it is something to be lived out, something to be carried in your very countenance. My child, each time you choose to forgive instead of resent, my light blazes within you. Every time you quietly take the narrow path that no one notices, my glory is reflected in your humility. Every time you refuse to boast and instead serve in silence, droplets of my glory are being poured onto the earth through your life. And though the world may not recognize it immediately, it will see the difference, for true light does not need noise, but it is always noticed. Remember this: you were created to bear my image, to reflect my nature, to reveal me in the midst of a generation that has lost its direction, not through lengthy sermons, but through small acts of kindness, not through fierce debate, but through unconditional love, not through striving for achievement, but through a simple life lived in my will. That is where my glory dwells in those who choose me above all else. My glory does not come to make your name great, but so that I may be known. When others look at you, they will not simply see a good person, they will see the traces of a living God. They will see something not of this world. Perhaps they will ask you about the source of your peace that they have never experienced, the hope they cannot explain, the forgiveness they never believed was possible. And in that moment, you will point to Mano with eloquent words, but with the life you are living, this is my eternal purpose, that through each surrendered life, I would manifest my kingdom in the world, not through grand structures, but through tender hearts, not through earthly power, but through spiritual authority. And you, my beloved child, are part of that glorious plan. Every day you choose to live near me, you are spreading my light. You do not need to strive to display my glory. What I desire is that you remain in mine close communion, in step-by-step obedience, in unwavering trust. From that place, glory will flow not forced, not artificial, but as naturally as light radiates from the sun, and as that light spreads, it will illuminate those sitting in darkness. It will warm hearts grown cold. It will guide those who are lost. You do not need to know how many lives you have touched. Just know this: every obedient act is a silent declaration that says, God is alive, He is loving, and He is moving. Oh, so continue to live as I have called you, not for recognition, not for earthly rewards, but because this is what you were made to do. Walk in the light. Let me use you to reach places you never thought you could go. Know this: as time passes and your life draws to a close in my light, everything you have done in love and obedience will remain as an eternal testimony of a soul through whom my glory was fully revealed. On that day, I will say, well done, my beloved child. Your Father is exceedingly pleased with you. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell to receive the words of life together. build unshakable faith, and walk in the boundless love of the Lord. Amen.